Morning. Deshaun got cleated today in a walkthrough and twisted his ankle just a hair, and we'll see how he does at rehab or treatment and all that. We'll find out.
Is it fair to say that there's a possibility that both Pierre and Deshaun won't be able to play tomorrow?
Pierre definitely not playing. Deshaun, it's a possibility, yes.
Coach, back here, can you give us an update on Jason Hatcher since you're talking injuries?
Jason Hatcher's the same. You know, he's progressing very well. I think it'll be sooner than later, but target date in my mind would be the third preseason game. But I think hopefully he'll get out there and start doing some individual work with the trainers and all. He's been doing a lot of work. He's very close to returning.
Follow up, these joint practice sessions have anything, obviously not with Jason, but with Pierre or with Deshaun, do they have anything to do with contributing to their injuries?
Contributing to what?
To their injuries.
Whose injuries?
Deshaun and Pierre.
Deshaun just got hurt today. Pierre just tweaked the hamstring yesterday.
I'm just asking, do you think that the act of having these practices, was it a good or a bad thing, or does it have no bearing?
No, it was a great thing. He had no bearing. Actually, Pierre hurt his hamstrings before the Patriots got here. Hatcher was already, hurt obviously before they got here, and Deshaun just had a fluke thing today in a walkthrough, which we have walkthroughs all the time. He just the guy stepped on his foot, so it was a fluke. But everybody else, it was a great experience, I think, for everybody.
Jay, over here, to your right?
Yes.
Would you like to continue to do this next year, and do you see this becoming kind of a trend among teams to have joint practices?
A lot of teams are doing it right now, but I wouldn't mind doing it again. It just depends on the situation. Obviously, I'd like to keep it here. I don't really want to travel, but if we had to, we had to. But we'll look at it again, Bruce and I and the coaching staff, and see how it fits logistically and moving forward. But I thought it was a great experience. It exposed some things that we really have to work on as a staff. And it exposed some things that we have to work on as players. But overall, we competed very well. I'm excited the way we came off the ball and competed in all the drills. But moving forward, we know that we have a long way to go, but we're not far as we think.
Just an update on two other guys, Phillip Thomas, Ryan Clark, and would you expect either of those two guys to play tomorrow?
Both be out. Yes.
There are a lot of logistics, obviously, in coaching your first game. For instance, replay. Have you devised a system for which assistant coach or who's going to be your eyes in the sky, so to speak, to advise?
Yes, we have our coaches already set up for the booth, and they'll help me out. And I'm sure Bruce will be up there also helping out with the replay. So we got it all situated.
Right side over here, Coach. Just talk about what do you hope to get out of the first exhibition game, and does it change it a little bit because you've been scrimmaging against that team you're going to play for 3 days?
Not really. We're just trying to find guys that can play and trying to put them in a situation where they can line up and play football and succeed. And the biggest thing is when the lights cut on, how do you perform when the pressure's on? People are watching. It's going to be a great atmosphere, I'm sure. My biggest thing is I want to make sure we keep order on the sideline. We look like we know what we're doing, and it's not a big chaotic situation on the sideline. Sometimes you have 90 guys on the sideline. You're looking for people all over the place. Guys got their helmets off, pads off, and they got to go in the game. We got to make sure we have some order, and we look like we know what we're doing. So the big thing is to find out the guys that can play, give them an opportunity, and see how they do.
Jay, over here to the. When you talk about how it exposed some things to the staff you have to work on, anything specifically that you're talking about there?
Well, just overall, some of our communication, especially in the up-tempo stuff. We hadn't really done a lot of up-tempo stuff with our situation. We did a couple 2-minute situations, a couple up-tempo stuff, but the up-tempo with Keenan Robinson calling defenses for the first time, Coach Hazlitt, Raheem, everybody communicating to the defense was a little off-kilter. On the sideline, it'll be a little bit easier. People have their headsets on. It'll be easier to communicate, but there's some things that we can work on, and we will work on. We'll get it down.
Speaking of Hazlitt, will he be up in the booth? He was up in the booth last year. Will he be up in the booth or on the sidelines?
No, he'll be on the sideline.
Okay.
Coach, just curious of your impression of Coach Belichick and the Patriots after working with them for 3 days.
It hasn't changed. I have a lot of respect for the organization. Obviously, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, they've won a lot of games, and they run a tight ship, and they're very well organized and very well disciplined in what they do. So it was a great test for us, but I think we did some good things also against them. It was a great experience for, I think, both teams. I know talking to some of their players and some of their coaches, they really enjoyed it. They got a lot out of it, as did we.
Coach, I was wondering if you could talk about what Barry Cofield brings to the team and to the defense. What specifically do you see from him?
Oh, he's got to be the man in the middle. He's a tough guy. He's got to work on his pass rush, obviously, but he's a tough guy, and and we need him. You know, he's a good run stopper, but he's also got enough juice to rush the passer. He's one of those few defensive linemen that has the ability to do both. And, you know, we got to make sure we keep watching him, making sure he's in shape, making sure he keeps his pads down and playing at a top level, because he's got a chance to be a really good one for us.
Coach, you've already answered this a little bit, but can you speak specifically to the linebackers, and most specifically, now that the practices are over with the Patriots, Perry Riley Jr. and Keenan, just how they handled Brady and that quick up tempo?
They did good, and I'm sure there's about 5 or 6 or maybe 10 plays that they wish they had back, and I'm sure that's the case with everybody that participated out here, coaches included, that we wish we had back. You watch a film, dang, I wish I would have done that, we should have done this. But I think those guys are doing a great job. Keenan especially, as far as controlling the defense. He's got a ways to go, but I think he's got the smarts to handle it, which is very, very important. He's got the poise. Obviously, he's got the athletic ability. Now, like I said before, it's all a matter of putting it together on game day and finishing tackles.
Coach, going against the Patriots, a proven winner, were there any matchups that you liked and you wanted to see, and what's the number one thing that you valued from this practice?
I just think seeing another team's style of attack, how another team approaches our defense and attacks them. You know, sometimes we have a different approach, but to see another team attack our defense and go after our coverages and our fronts within the running game and the pass game was great for our defense. And same thing for our offense. You know, instead of going against our defense every day, seeing another style of defense, more of a man-to-man, tight man-to-man, some mixture in coverages, a couple different blitzes. It was great for us. It was great for Robert. It was great for the receivers. And it was great for the coaches.
Jay, hopping in here late. Do you have any plan for the first team for tomorrow?
I'm planning, to start them, obviously, and then see how we do. Probably about 8 to 10 plays, tops, maybe the quarter, depending on my satisfaction.
Coach, we asked some of the rookies about their feelings going into their first game. Have you put any thoughts as to what you're going to be feeling emotionally? With
myself?
Yes.
I'm going to be excited, obviously, running out for the first time. And my number one objective is to make sure to keep order on the sideline and make sure everybody's poised, make sure we get everybody's well organized and everybody gets in and needs to get in. Butterflies will be there before the game, but once the game starts, man, it's business. And the biggest thing is get our guys out there and let them perform and try to find our best 53 moving forward.
Coach, as you reworked your offensive line, what was it about Corey Lichtensteiger that made you feel he'd be best suited at center again? Is he at the size and weight you feel is appropriate, and generally, how has he done?
Corey has done a great job. I think he's one of the pleasant surprises in camp. I was a little concerned myself moving a guard over to center, but he's a natural center, and he's got great movement. He gets up to the next level effortlessly. He's made all the calls. We've had a few adjustments we've had to make this week. But overall, he's got a great knowledge of the blocking schemes that we have, so he can communicate it with all the linemen, the blitz protections, the protections, and he's done a good job. So his weight is where it needs to be. He's anchored very well against one of the best nose guards in football this week, and that was a great test for him. So I feel good where we are at center.
Hey, Jay. Right over here, babe. You worked in concert really well with the Patriots in terms of planning things and all the structure. Is that going to carry over into the game? Did you talk to Belichick at all about how many plays you'll be running and when they'll be doing their ones, or does it end with the end of practice?
It ends with the end of practice. We're going to play our guys. He's going to play our guys. I don't think we're going to see a lot of crazy things. It's all about playing football, letting these guys play. We're not going to try to trick them and do any kind of crazy wildcat pistol, any of this crazy stuff. We want to line up, see if our guys can come off the ball and block for the running back, see if our running back can run, break tackles, fall forward, make people miss, see if our receivers can get off the jam and run some routes, see if our quarterback's stand in there and throw it. And defensively, we got to line up and smash them and get off blocks and pursuit to the football and find out who can cover and run and tackle. That's what it's all about in the preseason. And then we got to make our decisions accordingly and moving forward for the Houston Texans.
Thanks, Coach. We're good.
All right, thank you.